Let's see. So we are live on YouTube, which is awesome. Welcome, guys. Welcome. We'll give everybody a couple minutes, maybe 2, 3 minutes, um, to get in, and then we'll go from there. Antoine, good to see you on. Ashley, good to see you. So
Hey.
we are live on YouTube, which is awesome.
Hey,
Welcome, guys.
Tim, are you gonna do a plug for your webinar on Thursday?
Yeah, bro. Hey everybody. Yeah, so Thursday we're doing a live webinar with my partner. Um, Her and I are going to teach veterans. It's going to be like a webinar series for veterans, completely free. We're going to teach
Awesome.
you guys how to raise capital, how to, acquire deals off and on market. And I think it's going to be a 5 episode series. So just
Awesome.
shoot me a DM on Instagram or something, and I'll shoot you over the link.
Tim, if you got a flyer for it too, send it to me,
We'll
and
do.
make sure we post it on all our platforms, man. We love to support, especially veterans too. We want to get these. I mean, we're providing so much value to the community, man. It's a disgrace when it doesn't get used to people out here.
Yeah,
We
dude.
try
I
to help
appreciate
whatever.
that.
Yeah, we try to help whatever way we can. We
Appreciate
got
the plug, Triple H.
Yeah, man. I figured you were gonna do it, so I'll give a little nudge for you.
okay, awesome.
Awesome.
Uh, cool. So we can get started. Everybody, welcome, welcome. Some newer faces, so good to see some of you guys on. We got a special guest, my guy Tim Yu. Tim, I don't even remember how we met. I don't know, but we linked up and me and Tim kind of coordinated. There's been nothing but tremendous value every single way. We shot some content on veterans, and I was like, man, it'd be great to have Tim on to discuss, a lot of veterans investing, but not specifically just veterans either, because Tim's helped do some creative finance deals, so he may have some ideas for you guys. Tim's helped raise some capital as well, so he might have some ideas and some strategies for you guys. So I'm sure he'll be able to lend a hand, and I know we got some veterans here, maybe able to ask some questions or even lend some other outside value as well. Um, so without further ado, let's get down to business, guys. Oh,
Awesome.
Brandon just wrote crazy. I randomly listened to his story on Real Estate Rookies podcast today. Yes, Tim was featured on Bigger Pockets, the Real Estate Rookie. So, nice to you, Tim.
Awesome.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We appreciate you taking the time, man, adding value to the group.
So, do I share my screen?
Scott, if you want to go ahead and do our intro, and then we can get.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go through and do our housekeeping here. My name's Seth. For you guys that haven't met me, I'm a real estate investor, been investing since about 2018 full time. 2019, I own a small portfolio in Richmond, Virginia, and here in Morgantown, and ever growing. And I host Mountaineer RIA, which is a meetup group here in Morgantown for real estate investors. That's where I met Ray. Ray and I came up with this crazy idea of bringing you guys together once a week. So it's our fault. You're welcome, or I'm sorry, whichever one it is, right? But Ray.
Oh, what's up, guys? Ray Glimp, over 100 doors, 10 plus million in real estate. Tons of accolades and accomplishments. But again, our biggest accomplishment is getting it set up, being able to lend you guys time and value. Okay. Being able to connect with you guys every week has been quite the pleasure. I was just talking about this thing that we started on a whim of like, hey, it might be some people interested, to bringing in the students and then bringing in different people from all over. So this has been great to help you guys get questions answered. I know you guys have asked for specific topics, which Seth and I have diligently, and we'll explain more, diligently worked through to get you guys special hosts even the next few weeks. I think the next few weeks we are booked in with all special guests, right, Seth? I think we have people from all different walks of life coming to lend time. I actually just got off the phone about 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. I texted Seth. One of my lenders is interested in giving you guys a presentation too. So you guys will have access to the lender I use. And they're actively lending. They have like DSCR, no doc loans. So they are a great resource. And he's going to come on and present to you guys as well. So my students, he'll do something different too. We're going to key in and he's going to give you guys some special stuff too. But for the general public, there'll be some stuff for you guys as well. So
Yeah, it's awesome. Counting this week, we've got 4 guest speakers in the next 5 weeks. So
yeah.
lots of value coming. Um, we always put this disclaimer out here, and I guess it applies to Tim as well. He may have his own disclaimer though, but Ray and I, we're just guys, we're investors, we're giving you our expertise and our knowledge and stuff like that, but we are not tax professionals, CPAs, lawyers, or anything like that. And we highly recommend that you seek out professional advice for those different areas for that. And we're happy to send this along to anybody that would like it via email, DM, or however you guys want to get it. And some breaking news.
Awesome. So I found this today. It just came out hot off the press. This came out this morning, 10:30. New student loan repayment plan can make it easier for borrowers to become homeowners. Okay. If you guys haven't heard about this, if your student's been a student, it's an amazing program that they're working on. They're trying to make housing more affordable. And so what this will do is right now, the typical, I believe, repayment amount is based on your gross income, 10%. And so now they're discussing lowering that down to 5%. So if your payment's, 500 to 800 a month, your payment can now drop down to 400 a month, which will give you more cash flow and make it way more affordable for you to get a home. Okay. If you haven't purchased a home or you're looking to invest, this could be a great opportunity for you guys. And it also, I believe from what I read, it won't affect the interest rate. So your interest rate won't change as long as you make on-time payments. All right. So your interest rate will be locked in whenever you do this. So if you renew, it's awesome. Okay. So this is great news. We definitely want to share. It's going to make housing more affordable. But what does that mean for you guys as well as investors? It's going to beef up the prices. There is going to be a drive for more people to purchase houses more than ever now. So this allows more people to come into the market. So just be ready. Like we said, we've been saying now is the best time to get in.
Can I chime in real quick, Ray?
Who is that?
Yep.
Antoine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just wanted to chime in because the reason why this is so important, I don't think a lot of people know, but I've spoken to several lenders, and you guys can fact check me. But the number one reason why people cannot get home loans is because of student loan debt.
Yeah, the DTI, that's the income ratio. Yep. So this is especially formulated to target and help you be able to purchase homes. This whole program, government-backed program, is for you to buy homes. Right. Yeah. They want people home. The problem is, as we mentioned before, there is no homes. There's no inventory. So this is just going to beef up the market to drop prices even. Little do they know. I guess somebody didn't read this correctly, but maybe it'll be some relief. We know CPI numbers came in higher this year, or today actually they came in higher. So it'll be some relief for people to be able to afford day-to-day costs. As you know, some people are struggling. I think the average American, we said, had less than $1,000 in their saving. So this will be I think under 70% of America have less than $4,000. Right. So if an emergency comes up around $4,000, they're in trouble. Okay. So just
if you think about it and you just think and realize, like, the American society in general, right? Like, we are payment based, payment based. The general public, that's all they care about. And that's where, Anton's talking about the student loans, like the DTI, right? That's why, right? It's all the amount of payments going out versus the amount of payments going in. So any way that they can change that and make the affordability, all that's going to do is drive up competition, which drives up prices. That's what we saw in that whole COVID stuff with the rates going down to 3% and stuff like that. Prices skyrocketed because you could afford more home. Why not pay more?
Yeah. So this is great news for some relief to the market. All right. Every week we host our Gold Digger segment. We want to know what wins you guys had this week, this month. Key goals. We'd love to hear from you guys to see what you're looking to get accomplished. Anyone want to key in for something big that they've got accomplished or done this week?
This is Antoine. I don't mind sharing. One of the wins, it wasn't this week, but it was last week. I wasn't able to join last week because I had to travel at this time. But not only do I do tech, I'm also an investor and a trader. And one of the trades that I've been in for a couple of weeks now really returned a good, I made a good return, and that'll be the money that I'm going to use to do the repairs on my home in DC.
Oh, congratulations. What was that trade? You want to tell us?
I was in some Disney, I was in some Disney calls and I like to purchase. So I was in options, Disney calls, I get long term. So expiration was January 2025. And I was in the trade, I'll say last quarter of last year, but I got stopped out because that 90 level it was broken on Disney. And when I saw it reclaim 90, I was like, you know what, let me get back into these call options. And then earnings came out and then it just put me at where I need to be. It was a 200% return on that trade too.
Awesome. Congratulations.
And I took the profits and I put it into my special account and I have the cash that I need to
Good.
bears.
I know we talked about that on a private call, getting that
Yeah.
cash. That's awesome. Anyone else with a small win?
Right.
they want to share?
I got a small win.
Go ahead, Triple H.
So I was able to really dig around, and I found a insurance kind of brokerage company that handles really good rates. So I went from $3,700, so a $2,000 jump from home insurance, and was able to lower all that down. So it brought it back to what previous last year numbers, despite the industry going up. So anybody wants to avoid that shopping around for insurance rates and stuff, let me know. I'll pass that information out. But yeah, they're pretty good when it comes to facilitating insurance quotes.
Awesome. Triple H, if you want, put that in the chat. I'm sure everybody could use some lower insurance.
Roger.
Yeah, and I think everybody would value that. So congratulations, man. I know you were looking for that too. I was actually thinking that was on my mind for you the other day too, and I was thinking about that. Anyone else small wins they have for the week?
I got a small win.
Adam, go ahead.
It's Adam. So I'm spending Valentine's Day with a off-market seller tomorrow. So yeah, I'm just I got an appointment. So it's some old Asian lady. I don't know. So, my sister is telling me maybe just bring her a flower, but I was like, I mean, we'll see. But anyways, that's kind of my win for the.
Bring her flowers, dinner, bring her a drink if you need to. All right.
Yeah. all that I need for all I need for the
closed.
deal. Of course,
Bottom line, just set yourself apart, however you can do it, right? I mean, that's
Yep.
that's the name of this game when you're dealing with off market people is just setting yourself apart from the competition. Be remembered.
That's true.
Anyone else want to share anything before we move on? Any little wins, big wins?
I mean, my small win is that I moved an entire refrigerator inside of my home by myself. So
big win. I saw the video and I'm happy you didn't hurt yourself. So I think that's a big win.
Holly the Hulk.
Yeah, Holly the Hawk. There you go. Awesome. And for you guys' information, Triple H put that he put his insurance person in the chat if you do need it. Awesome. Any other small wins before we move on, guys?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. What's up, you guys?
Okay.
Small wins. Like my man Antoine, woke up this morning. The stock market was very generous to us and to our family. So we'll be using those funds. We're going to slide that in a little secret account and just hold it back and just wait for the time. Just having some capital ready. And then also found a off-market property today. Let me tell you guys, this place was a dump, but that's exactly what I want. Location. Across the street, it's like a $5 million condo. Oh my gosh, Ray, send it to you. But super excited. It's gonna need a lot of work.
Partner in the deal. You just, you call me, man.
Hey, listen. Look on my story.
I'll check it out.
The numbers are numbering, and I'll just leave it at that. So excited to see where that goes. But if it wasn't for this network, you know what I mean? Being around people who can motivate you, being in a space of people who understand that walking in a property that needs work, and looking at the long-term success of it and not, going in there emotional, looking for something that's already turnkey. So excited to build just, long-term passive income and expand a real estate portfolio.
That's awesome, man. I just got off the call with one of the students. He was speaking about how to just being in his network has been so helpful for him. So I'm excited to hear that coming from you as well. Anyone else before we move on? Small wins.
Hi, may I share?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so my partner and I just finished our fix and flip last month in Des Moines, Iowa. 6 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, very big. And we already find a buyer who wants to pay 20,000 pay down payment, and we are still looking for investors to do seller finance.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Craig. Big win, getting that fix and flip done. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a huge relief when you get one of those projects all done and stuff like that. When that punch list is all checked off, I tell you what, it's
All feels
It
good.
took
takes
1 year.
2,000 pounds off your shoulders doing it.
Amazing. Anyone else before we move forward? Awesome. Thanks, guys, for sharing. Let's head on to the next one, Seth. Seth, if you want to share this, is your quote.
Yeah, we found this one. I really liked it. With Warren Buffett, he says the most important quality for an investor is temperament, not intellect. You need temperament that derives from great pleasure from being with the crowd or against it, right? Like you gotta be happy going with the decision or the right decision, right? It's all about you, and it's all about your journey and where you want it to go. Just because I like turnkey, right? Doesn't mean that I think that Eddie going after something that needs work is a bad thing. I don't like turnkey, but nonetheless, you see what I'm saying? Like every journey is going to be a little bit different. So
Awesome. Great quote.
well,
So go ahead.
Go ahead. You can introduce Tim.
Yeah. So without further ado, Tim has been with us a couple times. He's an active duty Army officer, successfully purchased over 13 deals in the past 12 months, which is amazing. We know how tough this market is. He's used creative financing strategies, and he's also a veteran, so he's taking advantage of the veterans loan. Tim's our special guest speaker. So without further ado, guys, Tim Yu.
Hey guys, I appreciate it. Ray, Seth, thanks for inviting me to your community. This is awesome seeing everybody on the channel, and I'm sure you got more listeners on YouTube right now. I'm going to try to share these slides here. But basically, I just want to let you guys know, like, I'm speaking on Ray's and Seth's channel, but you have access to me as well. So if you guys have any questions, anything like that, I can connect you with my community as well. Because it's like we were saying earlier, collaboration over competition, right? I think there is tremendous deals out there, millions and millions of dollars to be made out there, and we can only tackle them as a group, right? Looking forward to talking to all you guys and learning from you guys, and also maybe partnering up with some of you guys down the road. So quick introduction. Obviously, so my name's Tim, Tim Yu, so I keep it easy for everybody, 5 letters. Active duty Army, I've been in the Army for 9 years. Currently stationed in Louisville, Kentucky, so I'm still actively serving, so I still have my W-2 job. So guys, it is very possible to do all this stuff while working a full-time job. I enjoy skiing, reading some books, frequent gym goer, haven't gone to the gym as much as I like to lately just because of the business world. But we'll get into more of that stuff later. And then I like to share this quote from Mike Murdoch: "You will never change your life until you change something you do daily." So the reason why I picked this quote is because I think a lot of real estate investors, both beginning, intermediate, or experts, right? They have a trouble like taking the leap because they think of that large goal far away down the road. But if you kind of like structure, your goals by small things like day-to-day stuff, like, hey, I'm going to call 5 agents today, or I'm going to look at 10 Zillow deals today, right? Do things that are very small, and trust me, the results are going to be limitless, right? All right. So here's the quick snapshot of my journey here. So I bought my first primary residence in January 2022. So that's when the market was absolutely wild. Interest rates were super low. So I think I was in a bidding war for the house I lived in, right? So it was insane. I think I paid like $20,000 over. I had zero knowledge of real estate investing. I actually used a conventional 20% loan. So I didn't even use the VA loan. We're going to kind of talk about more of the VA loan later, but like ironically, only 23 to 24% of eligible veterans actually use their VA loan, which is insane to me, right? I lived in a 600 square foot apartment in downtown Louisville, paying $1,400 a month with some crazy neighbors. And I just had to go buy a house. I was like, I'm done renting and this is it. Once I bought my first house, I kind of got like the real estate bug and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I started listening to Bigger Pockets. I started listening to YouTube, podcasts, all this stuff to kind of gain knowledge. But it took me a long time to take action. So I'm not going to tell you like, I took action like the day after. It took me like almost a whole year of kind of educating myself before I bought my first investment property. So that was in November 2022. I was walking in the park with my girlfriend, now wife, and my wife was telling me, hey, get off your phone. We're outside. And I was actually creeping on Zillow and I saw a house go from $100,000 to $50,000 like overnight. So we went to go see it, and then I ended up making a cash offer, and then we ended up flipping the house. And that was an insane story alone. I could talk like 2 hours about my first real estate deal, but
Tim,
long
can
story
I share something real quick? I just wanted
Yeah.
to the students, it took them a year, right? I know everybody's anxious to get a deal right now. It took them a year. And I think there's so much value in that, guys, and knowing like, hey, but you were doing reps. You were looking on Zillow. You
Oh,
were
yeah.
doing the work. So sometimes that groundwork is being put in. It's not just automatic. You got to put that groundwork in.
Absolutely. And guys, this is like a free discussion. So if you guys have questions, just, pop the hands up or just, turn off the mic and ask, right? Because I only have 4 slides. So this is more discussion based. So we keep it simple and clean, right? But yeah, my first flip was absolutely horrible. So your first deal may not be good. Your first deal may be good. I don't know. It depends. But I had really bad contractors. It took me way longer than I expected. But I think taking the action taught me so many lessons that were invaluable. Right now, I think my whole real estate career is basically flipping, but basically, so like that one flip went horrible, and then now I flip houses like literally. One of my houses looked like Tarek Moose's house, right? It's like an HGTV flip. So we do a lot of luxury style flips now, and that's it really attests to that first flip. March 2023, so there's a little gap in time. I actually used the profits of my flip and I actually paid for a real estate mentorship. And then it's like you guys are in a community right now. I paid for my education as well, just because I really believe in paying for education and mentorship, just because, there are people that have been doing this thing for 10, 20 years. I will never be able to do the same things that they are at this speed without that education, right? So I use that to learn about creative finance. And if some of you guys listen to my Bigger Pockets episode, and if you're a veteran, you probably have the thrift savings plan. So that's your TSP. I don't recommend doing this, but in the story, I told my story that I actually liquidated my TSP. So I withdrew all my retirement funds from my military retirement account to buy real estate. And the reason why is because, my parents, they're first generation immigrants, right? So they moved to America like 30 years ago. They believed in saving all their money in a checking account, right? They had no idea about investing. So I was telling them, hey, I want to buy this property because I think it's a great investment. And they were like, it's a bad idea. And I actually asked them for money. I said, hey, can I borrow money to buy this property? And they said no. So I said, well, if you don't give me the money, I'm just going to liquidate my retirement account. Right. So that's how that happened. So then I bought a couple of houses conventional, learned the creative side. And then November 2023, which is my 1 year of real estate investing, I did over 16 deals. So I did 9 buy and holds, 4 fix and flips, and 3 wholesale deals. So pretty
Tim,
wild year.
Can I stop you there?
Yeah.
And this could be some good value from the students. What is a determining factor when you measure to say, hey, this is a good flip versus this is a good one I want to hold? What
Oh,
do
man.
you determine it? I know
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's the neighborhood and the demographics. So if it's in a more like C class neighborhood, I may not want to keep it, right? Or let's say like, so in Louisville specifically, so my market, I kind of have like a math equation where if the ARV is under 250,000, I like that as a flip. And the reason why I do that is because I look at the median income of the city. And if you look at the median income of the city in Louisville, like the average pay is about $50,000 to $60,000. So most of my buyer pool isn't going to be buying houses that are $350,000, $450,000 houses, right? They want to move into a first time buy, their first house, So if I renovate everything and the ARV is under 250, I love that as a flip. Especially, if it's in a working class neighborhood where, they're working Americans that have jobs, right? And they're just looking for their first house, if that kind of makes sense. Um,
That's what we were talking about before, right? Like people buy on affordability. So yeah, I mean,
exactly.
when I was doing a lot of flips in Richmond, Virginia, even throughout the time of the big, the jump and the low interest rates and stuff like that 180 to 280 range was just, I mean, it was
Big
affordable,
gap.
right? And it
Yep.
just it flies off the shelf.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, right? And also, we all know, right? The inventory is still low.
Yeah.
So I'm actually about to list a house right now this week. It actually goes live tomorrow. Like we don't think it's going to have issues just because there's just not a lot of homes in that affordable range. Especially if it's renovated nicely where it shows well, right? And then to ask for the rental stuff, I really think that it really depends on your style as an investor. Because some people love the low income with the Section 8 housing. Some people specialize in just that type of investment. For me personally, just because of how my city is built, we have the airport, we have UPS here, we have an Amazon warehouse. So I love houses around those areas because those are working class Americans, right? That might not necessarily be able to afford a house, but they can pay their rent very comfortably, right? So that's how I kind of like pick how I go flip or rental. Or also it depends on how I enter the deal, right? So there's a couple of different things too. Like with that, like if I went conventional loan, you would have to make sure that that would cash flow. But if you do a creative finance deal where you do maybe a seller finance, and I like literally I can talk about this deal. I pay a guy $250 a month, 0% interest, seller finance. So obviously for me, I can rent that long term for $1,800 a month, right? So for me, that's a no-brainer. I'm gonna rent it out.
And to the
So
people on the call, those deals exist. Seller finance deals like that do exist. You can find them. I swear, if you look deep enough, did you find that one cold calling, door knocking? Were you driving for dollars? How did you find that one?
yeah, so this one was from a wholesaler. So a wholesaler had the deal originally under contract. It was gonna expire 3 days from the day they reached out. And I said, hey, would you be open to JVing with me, joint venture partnership, if I could negotiate a better deal? They kind of ghosted me and I waited 3 days and I knew that the contract was going to expire. So I called the seller myself. So I skip traced them. And then I said, hey, I heard that this deal was under contract. Can you talk to me about it? And the guy was like, yeah, the wholesaler, like, just ghosted me because they got it way too high. It needed a lot of renovations. So I said, hey, listen, I'm not a wholesaler. You don't have to worry about me disappearing. I'm going to buy this house in the next 30 days. I will give you the price that you're looking for if you're open to seller finance or terms. And then that conversation sparked. We ended up getting a deal done. And, we can talk about how I do lead generation as well. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, I think Godric put it in the comments. Look at expired listings, easy seller and finance negotiations.
Yep.
I tell my students that too. Whenever you're looking at Zillow, start with the deals that have been on the market the longest. Those are the easiest ones to negotiate down. Okay, if you find a listing that's been on, typically, I don't know what you guys like. Typically, I'm at like 90 days or more. Sometimes even 150 days. 150 days right now in today's market is like they'll probably take anything at this point. So,
Yeah, that's the new 90
Hey,
days.
this is Antoine. This is Antoine. When you're talking about these deals that you found on Zillow, are these people that's listing the properties themselves, or they actually have a realtor?
Both. So you can go direct to agent or you can hit up for sale by owner specifically. Obviously, direct to agent, there's another barrier that you have to work through because a lot of agents don't know what seller finance is or don't
Yeah,
understand what
that's what I
subject
would
to
think.
is. But there is a way to generate leads if if you just openly say like, hey, I'm a real estate investor, we buy houses creatively and we're open to paying your real estate agent commissions up front.
that's the biggest hurdle. I think through real estate agents, if you let them know, hey, look, I'm gonna pay your commission. That's all they care about for most agents. They just want their commission, they want their check. So if you let them
100%.
know, like, hey, I'll make sure to pay your commission, but I want to get this deal done and we're gonna get it done, most of the time they work with you.
Yeah, I
Yep.
had an agent ask me, why would you pay my commissions? Right. And my answer was, well, happy agent, more deals, right? You know, now I know, now that agent knows that I will pay them if they have a listing that's going to expire. So one, they understand that if this listing goes expire, they're not going to get paid. So now they're going to think, oh, Tim Yu buys houses creatively. I have a house that's going to expire. I'm going to give it to him and see if he can work something out. So you can build a whole business just by talking to agents,
And the
right?
thing about real estate agents specifically, that if they lose that listing or it goes unsold, that creates a bad taste in seller's mouth, which is going to create negativity for them as a realtor. So if they can save the deal anyway, they'll try to save it. And you might be that saving grace. A lot of deals I've done, I've been that saving grace to push that deal forward. So great information.
Exactly.
Any other
Uh,
questions?
Yeah, any other questions? Yeah.
Well,
The-
I just wanted to make a comment that you brought up Tarek El Moussa, and I think one of his strategies for getting off market deals is that he calls pending listings and he'll put himself on he'll basically say, hey, do you have a backup offer? And he'll be that kind of backup person. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
great, yeah.
That dude's a beast. So he
I
has
know.
he has a whole business of like real estate agents. Like he does it all now, right? So he does wholesale flips,
Yeah.
every single thing that you can imagine in the real estate world.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, that's a really good point.
No, it's awesome. It's and the wholesaler side of things, that's a little bit even more extreme than the listed with an agent and stuff like that too, right? Because most of your homeowners, most of your property owners, when they're selling, they're used to that retail transaction. That's how it's done and stuff like that. So when they're working with a wholesaler, most of the time it's the first time that they're dealing with this, right? So if it's not going well, you get negative emotions very, very quickly. And you come in as that savior and stuff like that. Like they're like, oh man, yeah, that guy's you know, and you get almost instant rapport there. Where with a realtor, I think some people are like, yeah, well, maybe they covered themselves a little bit more. But you get so many rookie people out there that are promising the world as wholesalers and don't know what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Huge opportunity.
I want to share the stat with you guys too, and I saw it today or yesterday. 50% of realtors sold 0 or 1 house last year. So if you think that every realtor knows exactly what they're doing, they do not.
Right.
There are some realtors that are outstanding that are crushing it, but most of them aren't. Okay. I think in my market, I think we had a statistic that there was over about 700 realtors, right? And then
I have a list for Clarksburg, Fairmont, and Morgantown, those 3 counties.
Mhm.
It's 2,200 licensed realtors.
I can name maybe the top 5 or 6.
Right.
The ones that are really moving it, doing deals every month, every other month. Most of these other people aren't doing anything. Okay. So when you come to them about creative finance, seller finance, we found that most of the time we have to educate the realtor on how to do these deals. So, being educated and having a mentor and making sure that you know exactly what you're doing will save you time and will actually help you get a deal.
Oh yeah, spot on. I mean, you know how many so Godric says it right there. They're transactional coordinators, right? They know how to write the paperwork, they know how to push paperwork, but it's not the creative finance paperwork. It is just a strictly purchase selling agreement that they do. And personally for me, I don't like dealing with agents, right? If I will give the agent a fair shot if I really like the house, and then if it doesn't work and I really, really try, I'll skip trace the owner. Right. But
we don't have any problem with agents. I want to put that out there.
I have no beef. I have no
We
beef.
got no beef
right?
with you.
I love really good agents. Trust me, I use one. Like the one in my local market. I think we've done like 6 deals together. She's listing my house next week. We love each other. She does great. But sometimes we need to get the deal forward. It's okay to skip trace the owner and tell them, hey, I've talked to your real estate agent and I'm still gonna pay their commissions, right? Because they are signed on a contract most of the time. So don't forget that even though you go behind their backs, you're still gonna get paid. You're still gonna pay them, right? Because you still want them on your side.
Yep. Yep.
That even gives you more credibility, right? Like
right there.
So you went behind the back and you called my client and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm paying your commission even though I didn't have to.
Exactly,
Yep.
right? We want to be investors with integrity.
Exactly.
Right? We don't want to do no shady stuff. And you're gonna get called a scammer if you drop seller finance subject to here and there. Trust me, I get called a scammer all the time on the phone, right? So you just gotta grind through.
Yeah.
And I see Feng laughing over there because she knows it's true. So, is there any other questions out there?
I'll key in it, and I'm sure some people, I know certain people in different situations. How did you fuel your real estate? Was it through flipping? Did you know, because a lot of times we need a lot of capital. We may feel like we need a lot of capital to get started. That first one is always the hardest one. How did you fuel it to, get the ball rolling?
Yeah, my first deal was hard money, right?
Okay.
So I used a hard money loan and then a little bit of my retirement account.
Was
So
that 20%? 20% down in, right?
No, so I actually had a lender that loaned me 85% of the purchase price. So I
Oh,
had a
nice.
I had a good deal for my first one. And then
Okay,
so I
good.
had to bring 15 down. They covered the renovations. And then I bought a duplex on the market, MLS. I put 20% down, and then now I'm out of money. So I ran out of cash. And then I started buying houses by raising capital, right?
Okay.
So what does that mean, guys? Your mom, your dad, your uncle, your doctor from down the street, right? I just talked to every single person and told them like, hey, this is what I do in real estate. And, I give them a double-digit return, right? And then as like I've evolved over time, I use social media to raise capital, networking events, et cetera, et cetera. But you can use a combination of a lot of different ways to fund your deals. So I've funded renovation costs with my business credit cards. I've used hard money. I use private money. My main goal is to fund every single deal without any of my own money, right? So I know a ton of you guys have heard that, but it is very, very possible to fund it with other people's money. But you just got to be sure, you got to be careful with all your numbers, just like everything else, because you don't want to over leverage yourself, right? If you don't have an exit strategy. Um, but I mean, we can talk all day about lending too, right? There's so many ways to get a deal done, that's not the conventional banks, right?
And to my students too, we talk. I know I have a lot of, we bounce a lot of ideas too in some of our classes, but we talk about, other people's money, and we've had this conversation on these calls too about, getting other people's money, how to leverage, etc. So I think it's a great point not to overlook it. One, you have to put it out there and let people know, like, hey, I'm raising capital. But before you even raise capital, though, you got to have a deal, right?
Gotta have a
You
deal.
have to have a deal. So I don't care how much money you got. The money will find itself for the most part if you have a deal. If you have a deal, you can shop. We get calls all the time of, hey Ray, I got 50,000, I got 100,000. I just got off a call. One of my guys, he plays poker. He played with some big names, a hedge fund owner and a local celebrity. He called me. He said, Ray, I just hit for 300,000. You got a deal for me? I don't got no deal. You
Yep.
have a deal. So
Yeah, there's the great conversation, right? Did the chicken come before the egg?
oh yeah.
And you don't, if you have a 2023 Porsche and you sell it for $1,000, you got 10,000 buyers, right? If you got, a 1980 Corolla, you're trying to sell it for $20,000, you need to be a good salesman. So it's the same thing with a good deal. If you got a great deal, you don't really have to sell it because investors know that if you don't pay them, that they're going to foreclose you and take that heck of a deal off your hands, right? So that's how you kind of protect them. It's like you get a killer deal, right? A killer deal where they feel comfortable parking their money in that deal because if you don't pay them, they're going to have that asset, right? But yeah, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that little tidbit there.
Hey, this is Antoine. I have a question for you. What are some of the criteria that you use to identify this real estate mastermind?
Oh, like how to pick which ones to join?
Yeah, like what's the criteria, some of the criteria that you use? How did you know that this individual or this group was reputable to actually work with and to get training and coaching from? I'm curious.
Yeah, I think there's two things that I look at, right? When I join like any mastermind or any event is one, does the mentor, like the head of the face of the organization, do you believe in what they're teaching? Like, is that what you want to learn, right? The first thing. And then two, where's their moral compass at? Right? Like, I don't think like, hey, nothing wrong with Grant Cardone, right? I don't want to pay for Grant Cardone's class because I don't necessarily think that he's the most educated in real estate. I think he's a great salesman, right? So if you want to learn sales in multifamily, that's the mentor for you. The mentor that I picked was, he is all about creative finance, but he's also he gears his sales training towards helping out the seller, right? What are your problems, seller? And then how
Yeah.
can my creative deal help you,
Yeah.
right?
Tim, who's your guy?
I'm in sub 2, so I'm in
Pace?
Pace
Is it
Morby's
Pace?
group. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
so I'm,
okay,
I'm
cool.
in Pace's group.
Yeah, Pace is great. And if you haven't seen Pace Morby, I would advise you guys check him out. He has a great name. I've learned a ton from Pace. Grant Cardone has learned a ton from Pace.
Yeah, he has, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is this person?
Pace Morby.
Pace
So
Morby?
if you're getting
Pace Morby.
Morby? Yeah, I'll type in the chat. And
Type it in
then
the chat if you can.
my buddy Godric in the chat, he's also a sub 2 student.
Good. So if you're looking to, do subject to deals specifically,
What's the subject to deal?
so subject to and seller finance, we can hop on that, but
we don't need to get into the details. I don't want to
Yeah.
railroad the conversation. I was just curious.
Yeah.
But those are great communities and networks to be a part of. The Gator method I'm familiar with. We've used it, and I wish one of the students aren't on right now, but we just finished a sub 2 deal. But again, it's about finding that deal.
Yeah, so my buddy is typing in the chat, how to explain subject to. So subject to is basically, you take over someone's existing mortgage, right? I guess I can tell you the quick story, like the grocery analogy. So imagine you go to the grocery store and you buy a bag of groceries, right? You're the owner of the bag. And then when you give that bag of groceries to your friend Sally, who's the owner of the groceries? Sally, right? But you swipe their credit card. So like I swipe my credit card to buy those bag of groceries. So that's a credit card debt. And then when I pass that bag of groceries, which is the house, to Sally, she owns the house, but the credit card debt is still on my name, right? I swipe my Chase card on it. So how do you prove who owns the bag of groceries? It's the receipt to the bag of groceries. So you pass the receipt, which is the deed of the house, to Sally. You give the bag of groceries, but the credit card debt's still in your name. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So,
and so that was one of the easiest analogies for subject to. I heard Pace give that speech too. I think I heard it live.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Pace Morby's great, man, especially subject to seller finance. These deals can be found in every market. I think it's important to note that there is no capital or cap that you can do. You still need some money, and I still believe you need money. Even if you're doing sub 2, you're gonna have to fix the property.
Yes.
A lot of people think, I can get in with 0 down, which you can. You can. There's some deals I walked into with 0 down, but sometimes there's rehab involved. Especially on a sub 2, there's going to be some rehab, some cleaning. There's money involved.
Yeah.
There is no cap to how much you can do on sub 2. I've done multi-million-dollar sub 2 deals.
Yep.
I've done multi-million seller finance deals. So there's opportunity there, but again, you got to find a deal.
Oh yeah, and we could talk all day about this stuff too, but there's different types of scenarios where one would work versus the other. Like someone asks me, why would someone sell their house subject to? Well, subject to, usually there's some sort of pain associated with it, right? Like there's a pre-foreclosure or, maybe they don't have equity. And if they listed it on the market, they would actually lose money after they paid all their fees, right? So there's a couple of reasons why someone would do a subject to. The reason why someone would do a seller finance is completely different. Maybe they want tax exemptions, like they don't want a huge capital gains tax up front. You spread that out over a course of 10 years, right? So it just depends on the situation. So that's why I like what my mentor kind of teaches us is kind of like, hey, figure out the problem, right? And then see if your deal structure fits what they need. And then to answer your second part of the question, right? How I choose a mentorship is the people that I know that's in the group. So if I get along with certain people that is in the group and then also have good reviews about it, like, I've talked to many sub 2 students before I joined because I thought it was a scam, right? Like any mentorship. So you're like, oh man, like who do I know that's been in this program, right? And once you figure out, hey, does your mentor fit what you're looking for, your moral compass, all that stuff? And then also the second thing is, do you know anybody that's in the program, right? Is it credible?
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of sift through, which ones to join.
Awesome. Thank you for providing that value, Tim.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Anyone else with questions for Tim? I know Tim has been, I know we kind of diverged, and I want to give you enough time. wrap up too. It always happens too. We always get so deep into it, and then
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, basically this slide's pretty much done. We're building wholesale stuff. We're seller financing a 22-unit property in Louisville. We're in the midst of negotiation, so that's what I'm working on in 2024. Nothing too crazy. Kind of want to kind of stabilize myself a little bit just because I talked to Ray about this a while ago. I've only been in the game for a year or so, right? So I don't really have the big foundation of real estate knowledge, but that's not a problem, right? So I think you need to surround yourself with the right team, right? You build yourself with a network that can help you, because obviously my real estate agent's been in the game for 10 years, right? So she has way more experience and knowledge about how to list a property, right? Like I don't know anything about that. I flip the house and I say, hey, it's ready to list, and she does the rest, right? So surround yourself with the right players, and I go through a cycle where I take action, I stabilize, and then I learn, right? And then I come back to taking action, right? So you don't always have to take action. And I think, you know, kind of like what Ray was talking about before we started the Zoom, is sometimes you could be overzealous, right? You can buy too many deals at once when you're not ready for it. And that is a real thing, right? You don't have to buy everything in the world right now, right?
And we talked about that on our private call, Tim, that we had not too long ago too. Is like you in real estate, you'll go through these phases of like, holy smokes, the deals are coming, they're coming, they're coming. But eventually you either run out of capital, you run out of time, you run out of some resource, you run out of deals. You run out of resource, and then it's more of a restructure period. So this year, and we mentioned it in our call too, this year is like a restructure year. For most investors, 2021, 2022, investors grabbed whatever they could during COVID. They grabbed whatever they could. And right now, everyone is restructuring. So a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of students I talk to, a lot of people I have on private calls, most of the problems have been like, hey, like I have this problem, but I'm upside down, or I have this property, but I'm not making money on this one, or this one is down. So this year is a year of restructuring. That's how I view. You can still acquire. You got to make sure that you're buying properly, but this year restructuring the properties is going to be your biggest value add. I'll say.
Absolutely.
I actually had a good question too. When it comes to the VA loan, is it just building a house, or can it be used for buying? And is it specific to the type of property you can buy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would use it more for the buying side, just because it is basically a conventional loan, right? So it is backed by the government. You got to go through the appraisals, you got to go through your inspections. The famous VA, the veteran way, right? It's the house hack a deal with the VA loan, right? So I could talk about one of those deals I've done. I bought a duplex. It's the house I'm living in, right? It's a one side house, so it's a 1-1 on one side and a 2-1 on the other side. So I did a 0% down, and then how I got a $0 down deal was I negotiated seller's concessions, right? So I got seller's concessions to cover the closing costs, which then I literally got paid like $200 to buy the house. So I don't know if you guys experience this, but it is freaking cool to get a check at closing to go buy a house. So I lived in one of the units, and then I furnished the other side, and I made it into a midterm rental, right? So I basically was living for free. And then when I left, now it's a cash flowing asset that I put $0 down. So that's how you really leverage the VA loan to its max capacity, because you can buy up to a fourplex, right? Anything residential. So you could buy a single family, duplex, triplex, quadplex, right? Whatever it is, just like the Fannie Mae, multifamily loan. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't VA, or sometimes you can't house hack because of family stuff or whatever. But think about it this way. If you buy a house that's $300,000, right, today, 0% down, and you live in it for a year, you move, and then in 30 years, that house is going to be over $1 million in equity, right? If you count the appreciation. So really, you became a millionaire in 30 years with $0 out of your pocket, right? So still, if you are looking for a house in any way that you want to live in, leverage your VA loan. It does not have to be a house hack scenario where you buy a multifamily. And then if you're a young service member out there, so if you're like in your early 20s, you're single, whatever, buy a house and get roommates, bro. Rent the rooms out, right? Dude, be a baller, right? Be a 22-year-old that has $100 housing like payments, right? That's insane. Think about how much money you'll have in a year or two, right?
Tim, I think the biggest thing about that is that we all have to understand what delayed gratification is, right? And I've been
Yes.
talking about that a lot this week, delayed gratification. It might not be the lifestyle you want to live right now, right? You know, having a duplex, I'm sure this isn't your dream home that you're in right now, right, Tim? But eventually, you know, right now, this delayed gratification. Eventually, I'm going to get the home I want because of the investments that I'm making right now, right? So delayed gratification is so important, especially if you're a real estate investor. I see so many investors who get started, they get 5 units, 10 units, and they go out and buy this big expensive car and they go buy their dream home. And it's like, dude, if you would have just waited just a little bit more, created more cash flow and capital, fueled a couple more deals, you would have hit that, you know?
Yep.
So that delayed gratification goes so far. Eddie
Yeah.
said the VA loan is a life changer.
It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah, I see that Josh says, you know, he sold his house and appreciate 100K. I mean, that happens, right? And you know, that's okay, right? So, you know, we sell houses all the time. Like if your portfolio changes or your goals change, maybe you want to offload some properties that don't fit what your goals are, right? So like, you know, I don't think I'm gonna own these 9 houses I have now forever. I'm gonna sell a couple, right? Because maybe it's not an appreciative market. Maybe I don't want to deal with that type of demographic, like, you know, like stuff like that. You just change your strategy as time goes on and you're going to sell stuff. So, and it's okay. But basically, you know, one more thing on the VA loan is, you know, you can't always use it like nonstop, right? Because you have a certain amount of entitlements. And I don't want to bore you with that. I think I can connect you with a mortgage lender. But basically, what I recommend is, you know, once you have 20, 25% equity in the deal, you know, 10 years from now, just refinance into a conventional loan. And then
Yeah.
you can reuse your VA loan for something else. And then the more complicated stuff we can talk about it someday is the VA jumbo loan, where you can put stuff together and just buy a massive property. So like, let's say like you're trying to buy something in California, you can buy a $2 million multifamily out there by using a VA jumbo loan, right? But that's a little more nuanced and probably don't want to get into that.
Any other questions before we wrap up for Tim, guys? Tim, I really appreciate it. And guys, thank you. Tim, thank you so much because it's such value. I mean, I've learned a ton. Any other questions before we wrap up today, guys? Anything else? Tim, I know you have your seminar, your webinar that you're hosting. Give us the details on that again.
Yeah. It is on 15 February, so it's in 2 days from now on Thursday. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a little late, but it's only going to be 30 minutes. It's going to be our quick introduction. So basically the person that's doing with me, she is a lender, a private money lender. So she's very experienced in lending out money and how to structure those type of deals. And then I'll be more of the capital raising side. And it's going to be like a multi-series thing. It's going to be recorded. So if you can't come, it's okay. Just register. We'll send you the recording. But basically, we're going to teach you like basically the step-by-steps of how to get your first deal if you're a veteran, right? So either we're going to use a VA loan or whatever it is, or maybe we'll go hunt for off-market deals. We're going to talk about all that stuff. And then we're also going to talk about how to raise capital to help you get those deals. So it may be helpful for non-veterans as well. But basically, we want to foster or create an environment where veterans can like hang out, talk, and you know collaborate to help them try to get deals, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll send out the flyer to you guys, and yeah, man, I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys.
Send that to me, Tim, and I'll make sure I'll post it on my Instagram too. And to the veterans in here, we appreciate you guys, man. We thank you. So shout out to all the vets that are in here. I know we got a couple.
We'll put it in our group too, so everybody can see it.
Yeah, we'll make sure. I'll make sure to get that posted out for you, Tim. I got you, man.
Cool. I appreciate you guys.
Let's see. So Seth, if you want to hop back, share the screen, we can wrap up for the day. And guys, make sure, Tim, if you could drop your Instagram, drop your social, and everybody else, if you guys can too, drop your social medias. That way we can network, make sure we follow each other. This is a great community here that we put together, and I enjoy speaking with you guys. Every week we hope to bring heat like Tim. Every week a tremendous lineup the next few weeks. So I'm really excited to see how we can help you guys.
Yeah, that was awesome. It goes to show you too, right? There's so many different ways to do it in real estate. There's not just one right way or one wrong way or anything like that, right? Everybody's got a different story. you can be successful no matter what, as long as you put the action in, right? Like Tim said that it took him a year to get to really pull the trigger and stuff like that. But once he did, man, he's blowing it out of the park, right? It's that action is what's caused it.
Yep. Awesome. Ending quote, perhaps the secret to making $1 billion in real estate is that there is no secret. Okay. It's being around the right people, educating yourself, and then putting the work in. I think those are the biggest tools that you can do right now.
Yeah, I think it's 100% true.
We ready to get Q&A. Last week we forgot to get it out to any of my students. If you want, we have a out of state and out of town investing book that I will get to you guys. If you like it, just DM me on, just send me a private message. I'll get it to you. And then our coursework, our stuff should all be wrapped up. We're looking at this week, so I'll have you guys new logins for this week for all your coursework, etc. Cool.
Awesome. Next Tuesday, we had the request for comping properties and finding the ARV. So Ray and I will be sharing some knowledge on that next week for you guys. Same time, same place. We put together this thing here just to kind of show it. We actually are adding, updating this March 12th. We'll have a guest speaker as well. So like I said, 4 out of the next 5 weeks, we're gonna have some guest speakers. Ray brought in somebody about building credit right for your investments on February 27th. He was here last week. Very knowledgeable. I look forward to that. And then Jen Stewart is coming on March 5th talking about cold calling. And anybody that's interested in wholesaling and anybody's interested in talking directly to sellers, you need to be at that one. She's amazing.
Awesome. And then any other things that you guys would like to see? We usually do our scheduling calls. We'll probably do a scheduling call here on the 20th, Seth. Maybe so that way we can lay out the rest of the schedule for you guys. So any topics in specific that you guys want to talk about, just feel free to message us so that way we can add it. And to my students, we also have some background stuff we'll be working on, and we'll do our one-on-one calls as well. So if you have anything specific that you want to ask, feel free to shoot it then.
Hey, Josh, we're probably the easiest way is to sign up for these meetings routinely. Drop your email in the chat and Ray will add you to the calendar invite. But if you look for Entrepreneur Roundtable there on Facebook, there's a group. It's a public group that you can join up to, and then all the events are posted there, and the links are in the description for it's the same link every week too. So big surprise, guys. You can save this link and then you don't have to go searching for it.
Is it okay if we was to share this with anybody, or they need to be
100%.
100%. So that's something that Ray and I have kind of talked about over the last few weeks. Our goal, I mean, I think we got what, 25, 26 people in this room at one point tonight, and then obviously with YouTube and Facebook and things like that, other people viewing. We would love to see this get to where this room is 50, 60, 100 people in there. So we can't do that without you guys. If we're bringing value to you guys and helping you out, share it out there, bring people here. We're going to try to get as many of the most knowledgeable speakers as we can and give you guys as much value as we can.
Okay, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure. If you do need the link, if you guys need us to email to us, shoot it over. And then I will see most of my students. I'll see you already, and I'll see the rest of you guys this week. And then next week, we'll be bringing some more heat. So looking forward. Tim, thank you again.
Hey, I appreciate you guys, man. It was awesome seeing everybody again. And I'll be on next week because I think comping and ARV is pretty important. So I'll be on there as well, gents.
Awesome. See you soon. See everybody soon, guys.
Thank you. Much
Thanks
appreciated.
again, Tim, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
This was awesome. Thank you.